Why would you follow someone you know is lying to you? It's a question that feels absurd, yet history and our daily news feeds are filled with examples. We see charismatic leaders make demonstrably false claims, only to have their support swell. We watch as entire populations rally behind promises that defy logic, ignoring verifiable facts presented by experts. It's easy to dismiss these followers as ignorant or foolish, but the truth is far more unsettling. The mechanism at play is not a failure of intelligence, but a feature of human psychology. It's a complex dance between our deep-seated need for certainty, our deference to authority, and a powerful mental glitch called cognitive dissonance. Our brains are wired for survival, and sometimes, the most comforting lie feels safer than the inconvenient truth. This isn't about them, it's about us. It's about a vulnerability hardwired into every human mind, a vulnerability that has shaped empires, toppled democracies, and defined the course of history. To understand why we trust the liar, we must first be brave enough to look inside our own minds and confront the uncomfortable truth about what we choose to believe. Why do we believe the unbelievable? How can a statement, demonstrably false, capture the hearts and minds of millions? The answer begins not with logic, but with emotion. Imagine a world steeped in uncertainty. Economies are fragile, futures are unclear, and complex problems have no simple solutions. Into this chaos steps a figure of authority, offering not a complicated policy paper, but a simple, powerful story. A seductive lie. This lie is not a clumsy fabrication, it is a masterpiece of psychological engineering. It promises a return to a glorious past, identifies a simple enemy for all our troubles, or guarantees a prosperous future with absolute certainty. It bypasses our critical faculties and speaks directly to our deepest needs. The need for hope, for clarity, for a villain to blame, and a hero to believe in. The truth is often messy, nuanced, and unsatisfying. It requires effort to understand and offers no easy comfort. The seductive lie, however, is a warm blanket on a cold night. It feels good, it feels right. And in a world that feels wrong, our brains are tragically wired to prefer the comfort of a beautiful falsehood over the harshness of a complicated reality. This is the first step in the dance of deception, where we willingly choose the leader who tells us the story we desperately want to hear, regardless of whether it is true. Once we have accepted a seductive lie, our mind will fight to protect it. This is not a conscious choice, but a primal defense mechanism known as cognitive dissonance. The theory, developed by psychologist Leon Festinger, describes the intense mental discomfort experienced when holding two conflicting beliefs, or when our actions contradict our beliefs. For instance, I am a smart, rational person, but I have chosen to believe a leader who is now proven to be dishonest. This contradiction creates a psychological tension, a mental static that must be resolved. Changing our core belief about ourselves, admitting we were foolish or gullible, is profoundly painful. It threatens our very sense of identity. So the brain takes the path of least resistance. Instead of changing the belief, it changes its perception of reality. The leader wasn't lying. They were being strategic. The evidence against them was fabricated by enemies. The critics are just bitter and jealous. We build intricate castles of rationalization to house our original belief, fortifying it against the onslaught of contradictory facts. It is easier to warp reality to fit our belief than to shatter a belief that has become part of who we are. This mental self-defense explains why, the more evidence is presented against a cherished belief, the more tenaciously some people will cling to it. The initial investment was too high to abandon. Why does the source of a lie matter more than the lie itself? The answer lies in a powerful cognitive shortcut: the authority bias. From infancy, we are conditioned to trust and obey authority figures. Parents, teachers, doctors, officials. This is a crucial survival heuristic. We cannot possibly verify every piece of information ourselves, so we defer to experts. It saves time and mental energy. Leaders who cultivate an aura of authority exploit this deeply ingrained instinct. They understand that obedience is often reflexive, not rational. This was chillingly demonstrated in the 1960s by psychologist Stanley Milgram. His experiments revealed that ordinary people were capable of acting against their own conscience when instructed by a figure in a lab coat, a symbol of scientific authority. The trappings of power, grand podiums, official titles, military uniforms, imposing architecture, are not mere decoration. They are psychological triggers designed to activate our deference. When a leader, cloaked in these symbols, delivers a statement, our brain's default setting is to accept, not to question. The critical thinking that we might apply to a peer is suspended. The message is validated not by its factual merit, but by the perceived status of its messenger. The lie becomes plausible simply because an important person said it. We are not evaluating the information. We are obeying the source. It is a bug in our cognitive software, a vulnerability that has been exploited by leaders throughout all of human history. Individual lies are often weak and easily dismissed. But when woven into a grand narrative, they become nearly invincible. A case study in this dark art can be found in 1930s Germany. The nation was reeling from economic hardship and national humiliation. In this void, a powerful story was offered, a grand narrative that explained everything. It was a tale of betrayal, destiny, and purification. It identified internal and external enemies as the source of all suffering, and promised a return to a mythical, glorious past through national unity and strength. The propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels, was a master of this technique. He understood that truth was irrelevant, only the narrative mattered. He pioneered the big lie technique, the idea that a falsehood so colossal would be believed, because people could not imagine someone having the impudence to distort reality so completely. Every speech, every radio broadcast, every film, every poster was a brushstroke in this single monolithic painting. A leader's lie about economic figures was not just a lie, it was a necessary fiction to bolster the story of national revival. A lie about a minority group was not slander, it was a crucial plot point to define the story's villain. For the people who embraced this narrative, questioning any single part of it meant questioning the entire story that gave their lives meaning and purpose. The lies were no longer lies. They were articles of faith in a new national religion. The final, and perhaps most powerful, reason we cling to a leader's lies is our deep, primal need to belong. We are tribal creatures. For our ancestors, exclusion from the tribe was a death sentence. Social movements are often built around a shared leader and a shared narrative. To accept the leader and their story is to be accepted by the tribe. It provides safety, identity, and the profound comfort of belonging. In this context, the leader's lie is more than just a statement. It becomes a symbol of loyalty, a password for entry into the in-group. Believing it, or at least professing to believe it, signals that you are one of you. To question the lie, to point out the facts, is not seen as an act of intellectual honesty. It is seen as an act of betrayal. It is siding with the other, the enemy tribe. This risks ostracism, ridicule, and expulsion from the group, a form of social demise our brains are desperate to avoid. Therefore, the choice is often not between truth and falsehood, but between belonging and isolation. And for many, the warmth of the tribe is far more compelling than the cold, lonely path of objective truth. In our hyperpolarized world, where digital tribes build impenetrable echo chambers, this dynamic is stronger than ever. The lie is the glue that holds the tribe together, and for those inside, it feels like the ultimate truth. The public square has shattered into a billion digital fragments. Welcome to the echo chamber, the modern architecture of belief. It's an environment engineered not for debate, but for affirmation. Algorithms, the architects of our online world, don't challenge us, they cocoon us. They learn our biases, fears, and loyalties, and construct a reality tailored for us. In this space, confirmation bias is no longer a subtle psychological quirk. It is the fundamental operating system. A leader's lie enters this system not as a questionable statement, but as a viral payload. It's shared, liked, and recontextualized by a community primed to accept it. Every interaction reinforces its validity, layering it with social proof until it solidifies into a communal truth. Any information from outside this chamber, a dissenting voice is immediately perceived not as information, but as an attack from another. It is fake news, propaganda from a hostile tribe. The comfort of belonging, of being validated by the group, becomes a powerful psychological anesthetic. Numbing the sting of inconvenient truths, we are reinforcing our identity. In this digital fortress, the leader isn't just a politician. They're the symbolic guardian of our shared reality, making their words sacred and their lies a necessary defense. The walls are getting higher, the chambers more soundproof. What happens when the outside world finally finds a crack? There comes a moment when the hum of the echo chamber is pierced by the sharp, dissonant clang of reality. This is the breaking point of cognitive dissonance, where the comfort of a lie is overwhelmed by the sheer weight of truth. It is not a gentle awakening, but a violent expulsion from a familiar world into the blinding light of what is real. This rupture can be triggered by personal catastrophes, lost job defying promises of prosperity, a loved one's hardship contradicting official narratives, or an encounter that makes the leader's constructed enemy look painfully human. Suddenly, the mental gymnastics required to justify the lie demand more energy than accepting the truth. This process is profoundly destabilizing. To question the leader is to question oneself. It means confronting the terrifying possibility that your judgment was flawed, your trust misplaced, and the identity built around these beliefs was founded on sand. Consider the defector from a totalitarian state, who for years believed propaganda about the decadent, failing West. Stepping into a thriving foreign city, they confront not just a different reality, but the hollowness of their own. The brain is forced into a brutal choice. Double down on the delusion, retreating into denial, or begin the painful process of rebuilding one's understanding of the world from scratch. It is a choice not of intellect, but of courage. The courage to admit you were wrong, and to face the lonely path of seeking what is true, rather than what is comfortable.